Hey everybody. Remember that book which became a movie 12 years as a SLAVE? Well, guess what? Surprise, surprise. Looks like the movie might be coming out again, but hey, hold on. Wait a minute. I know you're like we already had the movie. It's going to be a new movie starring you, me, everybody. Oh yeah. You're like, what do you mean? I'm not an actor, don't have an agent. I don't either. I'm talking about the real life version. Oh, yeah. We are basically, and let me just say this here. I'm talking about the real life version of the economy. I'm not referring to the actual, slavery that occurred in this country, okay? But I'm saying we're going to have something in common, okay? This economy. You don't own your time. Most don't own your house, your car, anything. So basically just a slave to debt. Right now, we're kind of past that point. We're at a more frightening time because it's just, in my opinion, a slave to survival, just trying to survive, chasing that dollar, slave to the dollar, slave to the taxes, a slave to inflation. And this stuff it's not going to get any better. It's just not. I don't see how. It's already bad now. Again, when you have a society where people, this is not a luxury having a place to live, food to eat. It is not a luxury. It is a necessity. So when you have a society where people are having a hard time just to maintain that, then on top of that, you have young people who, listen, you have all people who have given up hope. People in their 60s, 70s, and 80s should not be having to, in retirement, sit up here and have roommates. They just shouldn't. So basically, this here is inflation. And what's the common issue with slavery? The reason I use that word is one reason. First of all, there's no comparison, okay? No comparison to inflation or slavery. Don't even get it twisted, okay? No comparison. But here's what I am trying to tell you. No one said, well, I think I'm going to go over there and be a slave. I'm going to go and do that. Hell no. Did anyone say, well, you know what? I think, and again, two different experiences, just so we're clear. I know some people get real special in their feelings, so they want to try to pick, nitpick. Did anyone say, well, I want to see what it's like to have massive inflation, the worst in 40 years. I want to see what it's like to maybe not be able to afford a place to live, food to eat. I want to see what that's like. No end in sight. Now, maybe somebody might be a little special to ask for it. I doubt most of us. I know I would never request such. It's ridiculous. Oxymoron. Come on. But no one asked for it. Yet and still, it happened. Oh yeah. Yet and still, it happened. Yet and still, inflation happened. Yet and still, pre-pandemic, people surviving. Oh yeah. We didn't have high rent like this. Post-pandemic, you're thinking, okay, going to start opening up the businesses. It's going to be okay, and it's not. There's no such thing as a free lunch. All that free money that came about during the pandemic to help people get around. Well, guess what? It's pay up time and it's not pretty. All the people that were flossing, I remember seeing stores in the mall. You got to be kidding me. Lines at Gucci, at Louis. Wow, really? People had never been to those stores before. They got the pandemic money and they were in there. And you could tell by the way they acted. And I could also tell that was not their customer because when I looked in the store, which was not in line, we were having dinner. I looked in the store and I was like, wow. So they know the people here taking pictures. This is not their customer. That's why Gucci's not busting out the VIP. Well, I shouldn't say VIP, but they're not busting out with the champagne and all that because, they would have been like, oh, yeah. They probably would have ran out. I don't know. But yeah, people were doing that. There's no such thing as a free lunch. And then here we are. So the reason I said this movie We might be looking at 2 to 3 years as a slave. Why do I say that? Because they're saying this nonsense inflation, this could last 2 or 3 years. This cannot get any worse than they're saying it is. It cannot. It is heartbreaking. I had to take a break from my Simply Said 2 channel because you have people that are crying because they can't afford food, and this is some bull crap. This is bull crap. I tell you, it's a lot. So, no one asked for this, yet it happened. You would think they're going to go ahead and bill out the Americans. They've done the billing out they're going to do. They're billing out the ones at the top, which is always. And then you've got what? The immigrants and the war. The S&P, they've got their money, $1 trillion. All this green energy, this, and So, no one asked for inflation. Just like no one asked to be enslaved, but it did happen, and reparations were not paid. Got a news flash for you. Everybody getting ready to find out what it's like for something to happen to you so major. And again, there's no comparison, but so major, you didn't ask for it, but it happened. The inflation is here for a reason. It didn't just fall out the tree. Inflation is here for a reason. There are policies that can cause inflation. Yeah. So people feel this shouldn't have happened to me. I didn't ask for this. This should not have happened to me, and I totally get it. But yet it did happen. Just like slavery happened. It happened. And people say, well, that happened a long time ago. They don't need any reparations. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, guess what? With this current, with the way things are right now, financially, inflation, the administration, that's what everybody gonna have to do, is pull themselves up by their bootstrap. Well, I don't have any boots. Go find some. Oh yeah. There's not gonna. So just like people, all reparations, there's no reparations. When I thought about that, look at all this inflation. Can we play the inflation card? Because that is a factor. Can we play the inflation card? Say, hey, I lost my house because of inflation, this economy. And things like this happen. Hell yeah, that's why you lost your house. The economy is bad. The economy is bad. It is not good, Janet. Things are not good. They're not well. Nobody asked to be priced out of life, be priced out of living, but it's there. So what we're going to have to do is that people before in this country face adversity, they have to find a way to make it on their own, because I don't see any help coming. Listen, they're not even having the conversation. They'll talk about, inflation and all that, but I'm talking about I'm not hearing any conversations about, what are we going to do to help the Americans that cannot afford rent? I don't hear anyone saying, politicians, well, we cannot have all these people, homeless on the street. I'm hearing Kevin O'Leary saying, hey, he's fighting for the small business owner. You do understand it's by design. That ERC money, that credit, they just stopped that. But wow, doesn't make any sense. I think they're about to send out $1 billion in payments. Wow, last week, that is over. Okay, so if those business owners, if they don't get that money, the banks aren't lending the money, what's going to happen? They're going to have to fold. They can't wait. What is this? So they're saying to wait 90 to 180 days. They don't have that long. Some don't have that long. What's going to happen? They're going to lose their jobs. But they sure say that's Silicon Valley Bank. A lot of people that will say those are rich people. Millions of dollars. Did they ask for that? Of course they didn't ask to, for that to happen in Silicon Valley. Of course not. Who's going to help come and save the regular person, the regular worker? Who? Who's going to help save the American citizen? Who's going to help save the mother with her children or a family, mother and father? They've lost their job. They've lost the house. You can't have people living in vans and cars. I just saw again last week a video. The lady, 4 children, one is a baby, and they're living in the van. So we're basically going to be a slave to inflation, doing whatever we can, just trying to beat it. And I just don't see it happening. Doing whatever we can, just trying to manage. It's like what I think is happening. They're just going to have the people out here, not worried about you. Either make it on your, it's like sink or swim. There is no yacht. There's no tugboat, no boogie board. They're not showing you a save life save. They're nothing. Hate to tell you, we're like a slave to the system. We all are. What we're gonna have to do is do what the slaves did. Okay, you're free. Hey, guess what? That mortgage that was so high, you're free from it now, but you're homeless. You're free. Free to do what? Oh, you don't have to worry about that lease. You're gonna get put out. Who asked for inflation? Again, I understand there's no free lunch. But what is going on? There's no help. So I thought about it. People are so quick to tell others, well, you're going to have to just find a way and stop being lazy. This is crazy. People working who ever heard of this? I already have 2 jobs. You have young people contemplating 3. Excuse me? A 3rd job? Hell, 2 is enough on your body. You think somebody asked for that? Oh, just lazy, always complaining. Everybody is complaining. Everybody's complaining, just about. Again, I would really, really like to know. Everybody's complaining. Where's the help? Where's the assistance? I hear horror stories now, and like I said, I'm just to the point on some things. I'm quiet. Sometimes just listen. Why? Because I already have an idea as to what is going to happen, and it's not good. So I don't say anything. I figure why say something, because if I do, it's like, okay, you got to start making some plans, and it's to a point where people can say, oh, I got to go ahead and sell my house. Okay, sell your house and then move where? Gee, kind of hard to get an apartment when guess what? It's so expensive. Oh, and it's really hard to get an apartment where you don't have a job or you don't have any money. You had $100,000. That money go real quick, depending on how your bills are. So pretty much, no one asked for this. There's no assistance. So I guess we're going to have to all pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. That's what they've been telling other segments of society. Oh, you're lazy. There's no racism, discrimination. Please live about the bootstraps. So the same thing. They say people play the race card. Well, I guess people are going to play what? The inflation card? Is that what it is? Everybody's playing the inflation card, huh? Because it's real. It is real. The inflation card is real, and a lot of times, sometimes the race card is real. You think so? Discrimination does exist. Discrimination does exist. I'm gonna say this to the young ladies, and let me just say this for two. So yeah, I can see this is a different video. I figure you never give the enemy what you want. Okay, you never. So some people, they're sick of my channel. Then why are you here? So let me say this to some of the women's, okay? Believe it or not, some of you, and Brown Foxy had said this like last year when we had all this drama, these men killing the women, which is nothing new. But I started doing videos on it, and she's like, it's gonna make it hard for black women to leave. Some of you ladies, just so you know, sometimes these landlords are asking you if you have a boyfriend. Okay, they see you have a child and you don't have a ring on your finger. So if you go, okay, not married, they'll ask you if you have a boyfriend. And some of you are like, no, I don't. Or they may ask you, hey, is anybody else coming? And they have the right to ask because it is their property. So I try to help people, you know. Oh, I do. Someone said, oh, one minute she's talking about black men and she's saying this, saying, I'm reporting a lot of videos are coming from the news. I give my commentary on it, okay? But the truth hurts, it hurts. If you like dust buckets, then come over here. Do not come over here. Then she'll show some positive about black men. Yes, I'm trying to help your slow behind because you're the kind that's really slow. We get it over here. You might be slow, so you don't know a decent black man from a dust bucket. And guess what? The dust buckets is like 10 to 1 or 10 to 0.5. So I'm trying to help you out. Boop, you're welcome. But some of you young ladies, you think you're going to go ahead and run game. Let me go ahead and tell you what's happening now with the one who thought she was going to run game. Okay? This might help you out. So if you don't like the channel, sweetie, you can go ahead and do you a YouTube and talk about how you don't like Simply Said. That's fine. It's up to you. But guess what? You're a non-factor. But let me go ahead and drop a little wisdom on you, okay? Because this is what has happened to at least one person. And my thing is, I understand it. When it comes to leasing, you can qualify and have a decent paying job and all that. When they are asking you, is anybody else coming? Boyfriend, whatever. What they want to know is a black man coming behind you because they know the game. Newsflash. You may want to be honest and tell them, but most of the time you're going to probably say no because you already know they don't want Cletus around. Newsflash. Life ain't a joke. It might behoove you to listen. When you sign these leases, be it a house, condo, or an apartment, and especially if it's like one of those, mom and pop, or it's a house and you're leasing from the owner directly. When you sign that lease and you think you slick and you're going to bring in Cletus later, I'm going to go ahead and let you know real quick. These men, I'm sorry to tell you, I'm sure it's all rainbows and unicorns in your world. These men, as a collective, I'm just going to say, we kind of got a bad rap. Even the good got stuff with the bad. When you call yourself going to sign that lease, and I'm going to go ahead and get in there, and then he'll come later. Got a news flash for you. What you don't know, what you may not know rather, is that guess what? Girl, the homeowner already knows the neighbors that are there, boo-boo. Yeah, phone numbers and all. And guess what? They can see you. I don't care if he's just coming in at night. They can see you. Oh my, he's there on a regular basis. Don't be surprised you get a call from the landlord because I know you think you're slick. You can easily complain on a woman like me. No, you're just mad about the degeneracy that you deal with. You must have a dusty in your life. If this channel is, if it's making you feel bad, then don't come over here. You know how to stay gone and move the hell on, okay? And I wish you well. I still wish you well. But I want to go ahead and get this information. So some of you might think, oh, I got me a new lease and all that, and I'm going to bring my man later. You can bring your man later, 30 days from now, 6 months from now. If they're thinking he's staying there quite a bit, do not forget some of these landlords, they're business owners, and okay, that's who they are. Maybe you're not. Business people know how to network. And you know what they do? They check with the neighbors. And then don't be surprised, as one has been surprised already, if they let you know you're going to have to move out. I didn't do anything. I paid on time. Cletus is there. Cletus is there. And maybe he hasn't done anything. But when you have a neighbor that's saying, especially one not working, everybody gets a little scared. And it can be Dusty Dan too. But when they see Cletus, everybody gets a little scared because they're like, oh my gosh, he's not working. Oh my God, the same MO. What they're figuring is he's going to, while she's at work, what he's going to go ahead and do is terrorize the neighborhood and start hanging out, bringing his homies in. Next thing you know, it's going to be a break-in. So yeah, so that I try to help you. Again, if you don't like being here, then don't come. But guess what? That's happening. So then you look up, you got a young sister, a young one thinking, oh, I got me a place. I'm leasing it. Oh, I'm leasing me a house. Like, oh, and it's real nice. It sure is. But you're not going to be there long. Because guess what? You have moved Cletus into the home, and the neighbors done already told the landlord. and they want you gone. And there's no thing, oh, well, he's not going to be here. He's just visiting. You do know people have ring, right? And you do know it's their property. They can do whatever they want. And you will have to leave. Ergo, that's why it's kind of hard to have a dusty in your life. So ergo, life is very fragile. It can change. Oh my God. It can change so fast. You can sneeze, blink, and it can change. So then just when you think everything is okay, might find yourself, and I don't wish this on you, you may think everything is okay. Then you look up, uh-oh, what's happened? What's happened? I gotta go. I gotta move out. Start all over again. Your little security that you do have, you thought you're going to be okay. You're a survivor. No, it was okay for a minute, but not anymore. You got with that dust bucket. So now you two, you didn't escape. You're going to be with the rest. 2 to 3 years as a slave. And when they say move out, they mean move out. And you may get 30 days. Start looking again. That's how hard life is. Everybody's stressed out. People are trying to protect their property. They don't want the house on the news saying it was a shoot-in. Oh, they were over there, so-and-so stayed, she and her boyfriend, they got into it, and there was a shooting. Now I gotta call hazmat in. Oh no, an insurance claim. That's how fragile life is. So it's enough trying to navigate the waters. As I said, 12 years as a slave, yep, that's gonna be the new movie, starring a whole lot of people. People that look like you and me, people that, it's really, nobody's immune. That's gonna be the next movie, and it's not a joke. Oh, it's far from a joke. It's gonna be real. Just like He in Distressed. A lot of people know how to keep it calm. They're calm for now. Inside trying to hold it in. If this gets any worse, I'm telling you, we're just maybe 2 steps away from the purge. But yeah, 12 years as a slave, it's going to be about 2 to 3 years, the way they're saying. If this continues, oh my gosh, I just don't see how it can get worse. So instead of 12 years, from what they're saying, in 2 or 3 years, I'm like, if this is a recession, my God. This is not it, my goodness. Really? It's going to get real hard. And just like this man on this screen here, the actor, is looking all sweaty, tired. That's how people are feeling already. Already there. Not going, no. Already there. Just wearing a mask, trying to keep it calm. You get to a place you have a lot of people can't afford. It's already it's there now, getting worse. More can't afford just a place to live and food. Are you freaking kidding me? You think you're going to just have, oh, well, just going to walk over the harmless. Just walk over the homeless. No one's going to stand here and just, well, I'm just going to starve to death. Some people, it's going to get real, I'll just say it's going to get real interesting. The next 2 to 3 years, it's going to get hella interesting. And I don't care what grandmama says or what your deacon said or your politician said. The politicians, they know what time it is. I think they're just being quiet. Because they're going to be all right regardless, okay? They're at the top. They're going to be all right. But yeah, the next movie, it's going to be a hell of a reality show. From what they're forecasting, and the people that have money, they're not worried about it. I'm trying to tell you things to be helpful. Ladies, if you have a spot, I'm telling you, some of these landlords, they're not playing. Everybody's watching the news. And what I'm seeing, besides what's reported in the news, what I'm seeing, I said, oh, wow, people that have property, especially the ones that have money, shoot. The ones that have money, multiple properties, I'm trying to tell you right now, if you got a dusty in your home, for you, it's probably going to go wrong. They're not playing around. They are not playing around. So where right now you may be okay, I'm going to let my boyfriend stay. Sometimes, these brothers and cousins and all of that, it just depends on what it is. Newsflash. Ladies, you could have your own spot. Well, mama said I got to take so-and-so in and she complaining. Well, good luck with that. I don't wish anyone to be homeless. Just keep in mind, All I'm saying is, if there is an issue, you can find yourself out. It's already hard enough. So you might be one of the people that, hey, so far, okay, you're doing well. And I hope that continues. There are more job losses pending. Oh, yeah, more job losses are pending. And on top of that, aside from job losses, they're saying, hey, some companies, they're going to ask people to go ahead and accept less money. And keep in mind, when they're asking you, hey, it's going to be a pay cut, they're not really asking you. They're just telling you nicely, because they know how hard it is and how hard it's going to get. So yeah, that movie 12 Years as a Slave, I didn't watch it. I don't find that kind of stuff entertaining, but of course I've heard about it, yada 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 and all that. I've heard about it and I have an idea what it's about. He was captured, and yeah, from up north, those guys had him at dinner and gave him a drink, and then he woke up and he was, in the shackles and stuff. But yeah, this economy, it will cripple you. It is already crippling people's finances. No help in sight. I don't hear the politicians saying anything what they're going to do to help the Americans. I think they figure we've already helped them, and the ones at the bottom just going to have to sink or swim. It's up to you. There's no rafter. There's no lifeboats. So in essence, we're just a slave to inflation, just trying to navigate it ourselves. 40 years inflation this high, I've never seen anything like it. People, common, just normal things, a place to live and food, you got to fight for that. Where the hell this come from? But it's happening. No one's coming to help. Nobody asks. I don't think anyone asked for inflation, for this to happen, the rents to just jump up like this here, increasing like crazy. They're saying people now, the average age to buy a house, can you believe this? They're saying it's 36. And they're saying they're going to need more. I saw a report saying, I guess with Jerome Powell, something about he would need higher unemployment. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy to me. This is totally insane at this point. So if this continues, which I just cannot fathom, heck, let alone if this gets any worse. I mean, I know it can get worse. I don't want it to. Then all I can say, like that movie 12 Years as a Slave, just a slave to the system, just trying to survive. And this is so wrong. And guess what? Hold your breath for reparations check. And I'm talking about everybody, because inflation affects everyone. Do you hear any talk about it? People are going to lose their homes, because they're already losing their homes. Listen, people are also losing vehicles and cars. They've got some kind of thing a friend of mine subscribes to, because he's like a motorhead. He has 7 cars. As a matter of fact, that's my ex. And another friend of mine also subscribes to it. And it's like they have these high-end vehicles you can get. And he's like, it's just pages. Luxury cars are being repoed. It's happening. There's no, unless you're wealthy, there's no protection. Luxury cars being repoed. There are people now, business people. Something happens to them, somebody's going to get an inheritance, they'll be fine. I don't want anything to happen to anybody that I love. I really don't. But things like this happen. You look up, you may have an inheritance over here and one over there. People handling business because they know what's coming. So if people are already poor, check the check, they can't afford any job losses or reduction in pay. You hear Walmart, if you haven't heard, they're going to take $1 away from the ones that do the stocking. That was on the news. Like a stalker is making a whole bunch of money. So yeah, the next movie is going to be, I guess, more like a reality show. 12 years. Instead of 12 years, I think we're going to be looking at maybe 2 to 3 years. Because they're saying this is going to get worse, and they're expecting it to last for 2 to 3 years. So I guess in that time, will this be 2 to 3 years as a slave? People's lives have been damaged through no fault of their own. Your job ends, the economy's tight, can't find a decent paying job, you lose your house, your apartment, your car. No fault of their own. And the politicians are not saying anything. How can we help the American people? They're more concerned about the immigrants, because that's going to probably, I think, help widen this wealth gap. So yeah, so we're going to have to do, which is why I said, 2 to 3 years as a slave. What we're going to probably have to do is just do what the slaves did, what our forefathers did for black people. Guess what? You're just going to be on your own, like a nomad, going here and there, trying to maybe find some work over here and there. You're just going to have to be on your own for survival, and going to have to wing it. But see, this time around, it's not going to be because of race. Oh, no. Somebody's nationality. No, 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 no. You're going to have to go ahead and just wing it. That's going to be a whole lot of people. Pull yourself up by your bootstrap. That's what they say to the minority community. So this is just, to me, it's just crazy. The next 2 to 3 years, this mess getting worse, I just cannot imagine. I cannot imagine. And no one's concerned about the American. No one's concerned about the middle class. They don't care about women and children being homeless. They don't care about families being homeless. DV cases are going to pop up. They normally do in issues like this here. There was an increase in DV cases during the pandemic. So the next 2 or 3 years, pretty much, if things get harder, I'm sorry, unless you can create your own magical job or a business, and things take time. So people are just going to be, lives just changing. Go to work one day, think everything is great, and the next thing you know, you're the one, you're getting the boot, or the whole company's getting the boot, or it's already tough now with inflation. So what's going to happen? Going to have to work with less money and already struggling. And if you lose your house or your car, these companies, they don't care. They do not care. They're looking out for that bottom line. I told you, a business, and if you hear some noise, that's me I'm changing my workout shirt. A business is like an individual. It has to have resources. It has to have capital to survive. You have to have capital to pay your mortgage, HOA, your light bill, all that fun stuff. Or guess what? You won't have those things. You won't have electricity. You won't have water, heat. So they don't care. So what they're saying is true. This sounds like a nightmare, which is mind-blowing. It is not sustainable, and it does concern me greatly. Personally, unless something major happens, I think I'll be okay, But we have to think about others more than ourselves. So right now, try to hold on to your duckies as much as you can, because it's no joke. It's really not a joke. So what are people supposed to do? People are going to be losing their homes to no fault of their own. This is crazy. People cannot afford food through no fault of their own, unless you want to get into the political thing, and that's not what this is about. But so the next movie, 2 to 3 years as a slave, that's what's going to happen to us, the citizens. Some people are going to make it. Some people won't. Some people can't take the pressure. Some people cannot take the pressure. It's going to be more DV cases, more people acting out. And so when you've left your home and you're like, hey, I didn't ask for this, but it happened to me. I've lost everything. Not trying to frighten you, but this is happening now. I watch the news a lot. I watch the financial news pretty much all day. Sometimes I'll do things like, today I may watch a movie. I say, hey, I'm so tired of this nonsense, watching the market. That's always up. Watch a movie, because it's too much. It is like oh my God, it's like so depressing. So depressing. Matter of fact, I'm going to shut down my trade screen for the day. So depressing. So that's what's going to happen to people. Just like a slave to inflation, trying to fight it. And I'm sorry, we're facing a losing battle because we can't stop it. 2 to 3 years, this gets worse. It just can't. This cannot be. So many evictions piling up. Now foreclosures. I talk to people, like I said, I've had people to call me and ask different things, and I'm like, I've been known in business to be, I would say for my little self to be resourceful. I feel so bad when people call and ask me, hey, what do you think? And it's like, I'm just little me. I don't have any answers. And I can't, I don't know what to tell them. People ask me, hey, you know anything about this here? What about? And I do not normally I say, oh, hey, I can help with, I know someone you can go work. And that's drying up because I don't know. And it makes me feel so bad. I wish I could, I don't know. And it's depressing. No one should work hard and go to school and go to college, get these degrees, and then you got this BS happening to you. Even if you didn't go to college, no one getting up every day wanting to work on a job. It shouldn't be this darn stressful. Just trying to survive. This is nonsense to me. This is crazy, but it is happening, and nobody asked for it. And when it's all said and done, that's why I said it's going to be 2 to 3 years as a slave. This is going to be a hell of a reality movie. Then when it's all said and done, all they can say is, oh, there are jobs out there. Sure, go deliver pizza and maybe make, I don't know, if you're lucky with some tips, maybe make $12 an hour. Yeah, and pay your mortgage. How much is that mortgage? $3,000 a month. Good luck with it. And there's not going to be a remedy. There's not going to be a reparations check. Nobody asked for this crap. Like I said, unless you're saying, oh, about the voting thing, I'm not talking about that, but I'm just saying, no, I don't think anyone saw this coming and said, hey, I volunteer. I want to see what it's like to not be able to buy food. This is crazy. So this is happening. And once you've lost, some people are going to lose what they have. Working hard only to starve. People lose what they have. Didn't ask for none of this ish. And they'll have to start all over. And how the hell do you do that? I can't tell you. If you have nothing, how are you supposed to just miraculously just start all over? And there's not going to be any kind of, oh, well, let's go ahead, reparations package for the Americans. No. I'm still saying, yo, what about the COVID? Besides ADOS FBI reparations, that's major. That didn't happen, and people didn't have a problem with it. Well, guess what? I hate to tell you, the same system, when people lose everything, and I didn't ask for this, this shouldn't have happened. Well, it happened. And there will not be any reparations for your lives. That's why I said next 2 to 3 years, I guess will be just like the slaves did. Just everybody have to just start on your own and do whatever you can. In 2023, there's no rescue. There's no backup plan for you. Food banks. Who would think of food bank in Palm Beach? Food banks are on empty. People showing up. And you mean to tell me 2 or 3 years, you're saying this is really going to hit? Oh my God, this just can't. It can't. And I don't necessarily just to be honest, just might worry about what am I going to do? I'm just speaking in general. Because I see, and it's just crazy. So yeah, when this year that's happening, no one asked for it. And I guess once the Americans have lost everything, they're just going to tell you, hey, like they tell certain groups now, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and don't be so lazy. Older person said, oh, they don't want to work. That's BS. Young people every day working 2 and 3 jobs, working 2 jobs. One lady got 3 part-time jobs. My God, is it worth the gasoline? Just not to get the American dream, because that's not real anymore for many. It's just, well, it is what it is, a dream. It's just not going to be a reality. But yeah, the next movie, 2 to 3 years as a slave. That's how it feels. People are trying to fight a slave to the dollar, a slave to just trying to survive, a slave to the inflation. Sink or swim. And if you don't make it, guess what? Hey, what they tell what FB and ADOS, well, that's on you. That happened a long time ago. So I guess when people lose everything, if this crap gets worse, what are they going to say? Oh, that happened 2 or 3 years ago. You lost your house. That was 2 or 3 years ago. Now I know you're homeless in your vehicle. Now you got a good old chance to start all over. Crazy. Unbelievable. Lives are being ruined. And you can get so far once you lost everything, it's hard to pull back up. Sometimes you need an anchor. What if you lose the anchor? People are so bad off. I heard someone say they couldn't afford their phone or something. The phone expense. Well, if they're looking for a job, how are they going to call if the phone isn't working? People on social media begging. So yeah, the next reality movie or show, if you want to put it, 2 to 3 years as a slave. We're all going to be slaves to this system, and for some it's going to get tough. Some are going to be okay, very few, and I mean in the greater society as a whole. But for a lot of people, it's going to be a wipeout. And then you'll hear, hey, like they tell black people, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Things happen. It can also have an effect on you mentally. So be careful with your time, who's in your life. Be careful with your money. If you are leasing, especially direct from a landlord, just be careful. You may be trying to help someone, bring somebody in. Hate to tell you, it's their house. They can make the rules. And, I'm going to bring this person in. They have nowhere to go. Depends on the circumstance. Everybody might go. That's what's happening. They're not trying to have I'm moving an extra family in. Oh, no. They want to know who's all in the house. If you tell them, the rent may go up. And if you don't, and they find out, then you might have to get out. That's how hard it is. That is how hard it is. So yeah, instead of 12 years, they're saying 2 to 3 years of this. So 2 to 3 years as a slave, where people just working, a slave to inflation, just trying to keep afloat. Forget family time, just trying to exist. And if you don't make it, well, I guess you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Let's hope by when it's over, you still have some boots with a strap. Anyway, these are serious times. Thanks for listening. I'm out of here. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and share. And thanks for supporting the channel. I'm out.